All right, so many different views on this today. The latest from Elizabeth Kucinich, who's a food safety and agriculture policy expert, former director of policy at the Center for Food Safety. Welcome to the show. We've gone back and forth on a number of related issues here and heard, as I said, like we always do, from all kinds of sides on this. What's your take on that? Kennedy trying to shake things up, the firing of the CDC director, and there's certainly a lot of pushback from the medical establishment and elsewhere.
Well, he does have a point. When, 70% of the population are suffering from chronic disease, we need to make sure that, the people in charge really are asking the right questions. And the kinds of questions that Mr. Kennedy has been asking are very different from those that, maybe previous administrations have brought to the table.
On the food safety issue, as I said, something you care a lot about and talked a lot about. We played mostly clips involving Kennedy and Democrats today, but this is Chuck Grassley questioning RFK Jr. earlier. Watch.
You told me that you agreed to leave farming regulations to the Department of Agriculture and EPA?
Yes, Senator, we are working very, very closely with Brooke Rollins and with the agricultural community.
Some of the farmers in my state have been raising questions about some of the things that they think you said. And I just thought I'd raise this question so that you would keep by what you told us back in January.
Okay, I know you follow these issues very closely. Comes to farming and things like that. What do you make of the Secretary's positions on them?
I really appreciate the Secretary's positions on them. He's taking a holistic approach in a look at policy, looking fully around the system as to what is causing chronic disease, both within our person as human beings, but also within our farm systems, rural economies, within our food supply, food safety, and looking at some of the awful diseases and the human development issues that are becoming more prevalent because of our exposure to chemicals, and particularly agrochemicals.
Yeah, it's been tough to get to that conversation today as much because people are getting caught on the vaccine part of it. And I said this earlier, I understand why, and people have very, very strong views on that. And that's the one that seems to be getting the most attention. How does Kennedy get past that, or does he get past that? Here's the clip, by the way, that is getting a lot of attention with Senator Warner from earlier. Watch.
Do you accept the fact that 1 million Americans died from COVID?
I don't know how many died.
You're the Secretary of Health and Human Services. You don't have any idea how many Americans died from COVID?
What was your take on the clash between Kennedy and these senators on vaccines and COVID?
Well, I think, there's a really good point. The way that the numbers were fudged in terms of reimbursements, in that there was a big incentive to say that people died from COVID, as opposed to maybe looking at people died having also got COVID. We know that there were a lot of comorbidities within a vast proportion of the population that fell greatly susceptible to the COVID virus. And while this is not my, topic of specialization, right. I would say there's a big difference between, whether someone dies from a disease or whether they die also having been suffering from that, plus a lot of other things. So those numbers are not there, and they're not there for a reason. The government was really trying to blur the lines there and inflate figures with respect to the pandemic.
Well, Kennedy and others, including the vice president today, have accused the senators of kind of being in bed with Big Pharma and the like, so that became a part of the conversation as well. We thank you for joining it. You have to go now, but Elizabeth Kucinich, thank you. More on this. Again, all sides of this as we continue. But the other thing today is football season is finally here.